G'day guys, Sam Cordingley here again at Ballymore. Here today to talk to you a little bit about passing technique, more about the approach to the pass. I've got my mate here, Moses Sorobi, one of our young up-and-coming players here at Queensland, involved with the Brisbane City NRC team, and he's going to show us a little bit of his technique as well. Okay guys, we're going to just start off on our approach to the ball. So what's really important here is we're simulating what's going to be happening when we're running from one ruck to the next. So here's our breakdown here. What we need to be avoiding as a 9 is to make sure that we're not running in square to the ball, and there's a couple of reasons for that. If I'm running in square, it really is a tell to the defence what direction I'm going to be heading. So if I'm running to the ball like this, I've got my back to the blind side here, the opposition automatically know that the likelihood is I'm going to be shooting it off that way. So what we want to be doing is opening up our angle a little bit, coming into the breakdown, approach it at about 45 degrees, coming in, and then it gives you the opportunity to sort of glimpse over your shoulder and see what the defence is doing on the short side. It also opens up that peripheral vision to see if there's an opportunity on the open, but most importantly, it's not letting the defence know what you're doing. So you can have a little bit of a glimpse that might hold a couple of defenders here, whereas you might make a decision to shoot it out on the open side. So you've got options. So guys, one of the other things that's important about the approach to the ball is making sure that our body height's right. One of the big areas that you see a lot of 9s doing is coming into the ruck, standing tall, and then dropping at the last minute to clear. Once again, not a great technique, but it's also a big tell for the D when that 9's going to be clearing the ball. So what we want to be doing is making sure that we're practicing that approach, coming in and dropping our height at the knees and the hips, not at the back. So we don't want to be dropping at the back because that's not a great position to be clearing the ball. It's also not a great position to accelerate in. So I'm going to be dropping at the knees and hips, and the best way to do it is to over-exaggerate the movement. It's probably going to feel a little bit uncomfortable, but when you're practicing, over-exaggerate it, drop at the knees and hips, and get down and practice your passing. What you want to avoid when you're passing is just going through the motions, clearing that ball off the deck just for the sake of it. It's not specific to what we do in the game. So as much as you can, make the drill specific to how we approach the game. So we'll bring Moses in now to run through those couple of points I just made, focusing on our approach angle to the ball and also our body height. Good, mate. Yeah, Moses, here I am. Nice and flat, mate. Yep. Great pill. So guys, what we're trying to do here, as I said, so Moses is starting off on the sideline, starting nice and square. When he's getting to that cone, he's opening himself up at about 45 degrees, and he's giving himself that opportunity to look both sides of the ruck. What's really important, even when we're doing this drill, is just use that opportunity just to glance, just to check. Because as I said, it can really hold those defenders in that space, but it gives you that peripheral vision to make a decision. Am I going to shift to the left, am I going to shift to the right, or am I going to run either side? Yeah, Moses? Yep. Great ball, mate. So really important that when we're going through this, just to reinforce that point I made earlier about checking over the shoulder and reinforcing also that dropping that height and technique. It's something that feels uncomfortable because it's new, but just reinforcing that the more that we focus on exaggerating the movement, the better we'll get. We want to avoid coming in too high into the breakdown, which, as I said, promotes really poor technique and is a big tell to the D what we're going to do. So guys, next thing I want to focus on is just that foot position coming in. So we've moved on from the approach to the ball, and now I want to talk about getting our feet position right when we're clearing it. So the key things to focus on here is making sure that the foot closest to the ball isn't right on top of the ball. So what you'll get is a lot of coaches telling you that it needs to be really close to it. The one problem with that is I think it limits your opportunities to shift that pass if need be to the other side of the ruck. So if you look at my foot position being placed there, I've got a longer distance that I have to be able to shift that ball to throw it. Whereas if I put my foot about 1/3 of the distance from the ball, 2/3 of the distance here, really easy to shift my body position to shift the pass back to the other side of the ruck. It doesn't inhibit my ability to clear the ball off the deck quickly. All it does is give me the opportunity to shift my body position really quickly. So I've got peripheral vision on both sides of the ruck. I can use the opportunities that exist either side there. So guys, really important that when we're practicing passing, we're focusing on quality in what we do. So that means we're not just going through the motions. Use training as an opportunity to make sure that you're throwing every pass with as much accuracy as you can. You're probably throwing 60 to 80 passes in a game. The one thing that I can assure you is that you're going to be judged on the 2 or 3 bad ones that you throw, not the 67 other good ones that you throw. So when you're focusing on passing, make sure it's measurable, make sure you're putting effort into being accurate with what you do. One of the things that's really important as well is whoever's catching the ball, make sure he's giving voice. One thing that's for sure and certain is that your 10 has to be giving you communication. 9's really focused on what's happening at the ruck. He needs to know where that ball's going. And I think Moses will be able to tell you that when you're given that voice, it's a lot easier for that pass to go where it needs to go. Yeah, Moses, a bit deeper, mate. Good. Great seed. So guys, really good. I think Moses has done a great job of clearing those passes, checking over his shoulder every time he's approaching the ball, dropping his height when he gets to the cone, and his foot position's really good. Now what we're going to do, just in addition to this drill, is give Moses the option to shoot the ball back to the other side of the ruck. If there's an opportunity that exists, he might get a call from the first receiver on that side. He has the opportunity to shift it back. So the calls will be from me. I'll make a call of red. We have our 5'8" on the other side making the call red, black, and Moses will just react to what call is going to come his way. Black. Good, mate. Black. Black. Great. Great reaction, mate. Red. Excellent, mate. So really good foot position there for Moses. Good body height both ways. The good thing about this drill is it just gives that variation, makes the halfback think on the way, so he's not completely focused on his passing. He knows that he has to react to a call like he has to do in a game. So guys, that's a wrap on that passing drill. So major focus points there, making sure that we're approaching the ruck at about a 45-degree angle to give ourselves the opportunity to see both sides of the ruck, dropping our body height at the knees and hips as opposed to dropping them at the back. And really, the big key for passing, as we all know, is making sure that we're getting those hands right at the target, get your foot position pointing at the target as well. One of the things I try to teach young 9s when they're passing the ball is trying to imagine passing that ball down a pipe so it hits the target, nice and accurate, straight down a pipe at the target.